So in today's student interview, we are chatting with Jayde from South Africa, who actually joined Agency Incubator around 6 weeks ago. At this point, is already making 10 grand a month, or technically making $8,000 a month. But hopefully by the end of this month, she should wrap up at around 10,000 USD. And really interesting conversation, especially just because I came back from spending 5 months, 5 months in South Africa. Very interesting conversation about economies of scale, about just comparison in terms of what is considered really good salaries in different places in the world, and a whole bunch of other stuff. With no further ado, let's roll into it. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another student interview. We're joined today with Jayde from South Africa. Still stuck there in lockdown. It makes me reminisce, but very, very interesting industry you went headfirst into. Obviously, off camera, you were mentioning that technically you're not meant to. We've actually had quite a few students succeed in that industry, but I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself and how you got into this whole world.
Okay, cool. So I'm Jayde from South Africa, obviously. I've pretty much been surrounded by the industry for quite a few years indirectly. I have a lot of family who, for example, what do you mean?
The industry is?
CBD, hemp, and cannabis. So it's kind of like you said, it's the industry that you shouldn't go into. But I kind of just found my way into it. It kind of landed on my lap instead of me going out and finding it. So I had family who had been in it, but I never thought anything of it. I didn't really know that you could advertise in the space. I didn't know that you could even start an agency directed at CBD and hemp. So in a roundabout way, I just did freelancing. And one of the people that contacted me happened to be a CBD owner in Germany. So I was like, okay, well, this is kind of enjoyable. And it was the only niche that I actually enjoyed because I kind of jumped around a lot when I was freelancing. So yeah.
That's awesome. So when do you start your agency?
So I technically started it like a year ago. Literally this month, a year ago, I was starting it. But again, I was just freelancing. And I didn't even know that you could start an agency. I thought you had to buy an office, you had to have 100 employees. So I was like, it doesn't really seem plausible to do that. And then in a roundabout way, I found you after 3 years of already knowing about you. But I didn't, I kind of just lost touch with the space. And that's when I was looking into drop shipping, looking into a few other things. And then I was kind of like, okay, I need to focus a lot more on what's already working. And the freelancing, I was doing social media management for $180 a month, which is really sad. But at the time it was like, okay, I'm doing something. And then I found you in a very roundabout way. I watched your ayahuasca experience video. So nothing even related to agency work. And then I wanted to send you a message about it. And I realized I'd already messaged you 3 years ago or something. So I was like, yeah, that's weird. So I looked more into what you were doing and I was like, okay, this is kind of what I'm doing, but at a much more accelerated pace. So I was like, okay, how can I do the same for myself? So I kind of started focusing more on getting bigger clients, building my agency a lot more, because at that time I realized you don't need an office, which kind of blew my mind. And then I think, so I pretty much just carried on doing freelancing. And then when I looked more into your videos, into you, I was like, okay, I need to really focus on this. And then I started cold emailing. I sent out 300 emails a day. When I was eating dinner, I would literally sit on my phone sending emails. I would do lead sourcing. I was it was a complex thing. And then I joined Agency Incubator a month and a half ago, I think. And that's when I really decided, okay, this is what I want to do.
That's awesome. So how much a month are you doing from your agency at the moment? And how many clients are you servicing?
So I just reached 8K. By the end of the month, I should be 10K, but I want to manage expectations because next week I should be closing 2 more clients. So right now I'm doing 6 clients and it's quite a variety. It's a few CBD businesses, and then some hemp farms, which is kind of weird. But yeah, those are my main clients, and I'm doing 6 clients right now. Should close 2 more.
And one thing I think, because like obviously, where in South Africa are you from?
I'm in Johannesburg, in
Johannesburg.
Gauteng.
Awesome. So yeah, obviously a lot of people watching this will probably know that one of my best friends, Pete, he's South African, and like, you know, he was like my interim videographer for like 5 months, and then, you know, he would work on my stuff in the evening, and then throughout the day work on his agency. So by the time I left, he was making like 6-7 grand, and just like, you know, we talk about this a lot, like how, you know, economies of scale, and like making, you know, your hopefully, you know, already 8K, hopefully, you know, by the end of this month 10K, like that's 10,000 USD, right? So that in South Africa is like in London making like $50,000. Like, you know, I was sending Pete some properties I was looking at, and like, you know, a 3-bedroom London, like Chelsea townhouse that I have like a viewing for, like in Camps Bay, is like a 12-bedroom mega like villa, this, that, like it's nuts. And like, even obviously, you know, being in Cape Town for 5-6 months, like Cape Town is incredible. Like I love it. You know, it reminds me of like a little baby LA. But it's so cheap. And the other thing that was like so interesting to see is like, I think, you know, because once again, like at a certain point, you know, P had a couple of clients, and I was like, yo, look, like it's time for you to bring someone on full time, because once again, economies of scale. Like, what is for someone, you know, for someone in their early 20s, like what is a normal salary, like full-time salary in South Africa?
Well, funny enough, I was looking at it the other day, because at this point, I think I messaged you it or something. I am almost South Africa's youngest millionaire, which is to me like crazy, because I never even thought that was possible. But when I was looking into it, because I just turned 20, and when I was looking into it, into like an average salary, I think I was even looking, because my age, I know my friends are making like 5K in rand. So that's like, I don't know, like $200 a month. So it's very minute. And when I was looking into it, I was like, okay, my teachers, and well, who were my teachers, they make, I think, 10,000 rand a month, which is, I think, like $600 or something like that. So for me to be making 8K, I'm kind of making what the top CEOs in the country do. And that to me is really crazy.
Yeah. And you know, the reason I wanted to say that as well is because like, you know, I tell people all the time, you go from either when you begin, give a percentage of your, you know, you can give away, as long as you're making at least 100% markup on your contractor, that's fine. But, you know, the model I usually tell people is have contractors per month per client. But the thing is, very quickly, you know, even once the contractor is managing 2 client campaigns, at a certain point, it can actually be cheaper to look at talent in, for example, South Africa, look in talent in, for example, Serbia, look in talent, for example, in Brazil, and you can literally have someone full time, like incredible talent for $1,000 per month. Like, you know, most, you know, I was looking through like Pete on like LinkedIn, and like, you know, you like incredible, like the performance marketers at the best South African agencies make like $1,100 a month, $1,200 a month. It's nuts. Even. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
Crazy.
So, yeah, what motivated you to like start your agency? Like, it's, you know, that's not a very normal thing to do, you know, when you're 19 in South Africa. Most people are just enjoying themselves.
Well, I mean, when I was in, even from primary school, honestly, which is like in elementary school, I think I was 9 years, when I was 9 years old, I'm pretty sure that was the first time I realized, which is quite young, but I realized that I wanted a lot more out of life, because from even a young age, I was kind of like, okay, first of all, from that age, I already hated school. Like some days I would sleep in and try to convince my parents that I didn't want to wake up, or like I was just finding every excuse not to go to school. And then I kind of, as I grew up, I was like, okay, why do I hate school so much? And when I got to high school, it kind of came over me that I just wanted a lot out of life. And I could see what it, like for me, school was kind of like a funnel into kind of making everyone a robot. I mean, that was just the way that I saw things. They had a way of making everyone do the exact same thing, get a degree, pay off loans for the rest of their life. And I was like, that is not for me. Because I could see, like, my mom, I'm very close with my mom. So she would wake up at 5 a.m. every single day. She still does. And my motivation has always been, why should she be waking up at 5 a.m.? Like, that should be me. And she should be waking up whenever time she wants. She shouldn't be going to work and the job that she hates for. So I'm kind of like, all throughout high school, I was like, I do not like being taught business by someone who's never owned a business. I don't like being taught accounting by someone who's never been in a chartered accountant. So like things just didn't match up for me. And then from, I think, when I was 14, I just knew I did not want to go to college. I didn't want to follow everyone else's dreams. So I looked into Forex trading, and I lost a lot of money. And then at that point, I think like 16 or 17, I started looking into every possible solution. Like I was drawing portraits and sending them over to LA for people, but I was making a loss. Like I would draw a portrait, get paid like $50 for it, but the shipping was $60. So I was like, this is not really sustainable. And then I tried drop shipping, lost tons of money with that. And then when I found, like the way that it worked was I sat down one day and I was like, okay, I need to make a business. I need to be successful. There's never been a moment in my life where I've doubted my success or that I could be successful, like not even a single second. So I sat down the one day and I did a lot of self-awareness. I wrote down everything that I enjoyed doing, everything I was good at, and then pretty much everything kind of, like I was good at writing, I was good at social media, I was good at all the things that kind of accumulate into an agency, if that makes sense, all the skills that you need. So then I pretty much took everything I wrote down that I was good at, and I was like, okay, I'm going to start managing people's accounts. And then from there, pretty much just accelerated into me starting an agency and really, really loving it.
That's awesome. So what are you actually doing for your clients? Is it just one service blend or?
Yeah, well, obviously you cannot do any Facebook marketing at all. No paid traffic in the traditional sense in terms of Facebook and Instagram ads. So what I pretty much do is I do a lot of organic growth. So it's kind of like a creative agency, but in a lot of ways, I get them revenue from the audience that I build for them. And obviously the one paid traffic method that's not limited is email marketing. So I've really kind of doubled down on copywriting and sending out emails for them, building up their lists organically, launching unique campaigns. And one of the big things that I do that I don't think a lot of agencies do is I've built up a really strong network of CBD influencers. So like people with 500K plus followers. And I've kind of built relationships with them where they've agreed to work with whoever I work with. So it's quite nice that I have that base set up now. So yeah, that's like the main things.
Mm-hmm. Are you, because basically there's a student in copy paste agency I need to connect you to. She's awesome. She also works with CBD companies, does like 15K a month. And so she has like 2-3 clients at the moment. And apparently one of the places you can run ads is like on those like sketchy like porn sites and stuff like that. So they run CBD ads there, and apparently it kills it. So I think there's a few workarounds. But
okay, that's definitely a roundabout way of doing things.
Yeah, but no, I have to connect you guys. I don't know if she does the influencer stuff, so that sounds awesome. So in terms of team, is it just yourself for now?
No, I have someone else, and I'll explain kind of how I worked around this. Right now, I'm interviewing quite a few people to do the service delivery. So right now I'm doing the service delivery, which is kind of backwards. But I hired someone to do the lead sourcing, the cold emails, the cold messages, and we work really well together. So the reason that I did that is because I really enjoy the lead sourcing. And it's kind of been difficult finding someone who understands the CBD niche, because I need strong talent, especially because the service delivery is so difficult with CBD businesses and getting them revenue. So I've kind of been taking my time with that to make sure I build a team that's strong for the future. So I just have myself and the lead sourcing guy who sets appointments for me and whatnot.
Awesome. And when you are looking for talent, are you looking globally, or are you thinking, I can actually get pretty good talent in South Africa and it would be nice if they were around?
I was looking globally, and I realized that there was a lot of talent here. Like I have, I think like 10,000 followers on Instagram, and that's all South Africans. So I've managed to utilize that to get about 50 interviews or something. And then I obviously went through them and chose the ones that are best suited for me. But yeah, local talent for me is, first of all, I mean, it sounds a bit, I don't know how to say it. It sounds rough, but it's cheap. Like you said, it is very cheap. And
nothing rough with that.
Yeah. And my idea is to keep profits as much as possible. That is my main goal. I don't like the idea of having excess overheads that don't make sense. So building a strong team locally is kind of my ideal right now.
Yeah, I like the idea of locally. Like for me, if my entire team, Danny's in Colombia, Luis is in Brazil, obviously Kieran's in London with me. But like for me, like I'd even love to have an office. Like I don't recommend an office to any person. I only recommend an office when it's like you're not doing it because you feel as though you need to. You're just like, oh, actually, it'd be kind of nice to like come into office every morning and like everyone's in there and like like just kind of like for that company culture aspect of it. So yeah, especially now that you're building your team, like I think it'd be awesome if you could get someone in local to you, where I wouldn't, if I were you, like I'd never get an office, but like especially considering what you can get for even $1,500 a month, get a dope crib, like you for $1,500 you can get like a 3-bedroom 4-bedroom awesome place, and just have one room as like the little like office where there's like desks and this and that, and like it's nice even just maybe like 3 days out the week or 2 days out the week that the team comes into the home office or whatever. Like I like that idea. But yeah, what does the next year or so look like for your agency, and like what place does your agency serve in your life? Is this just a stepping stone thing for you? Is this something that you see yourself scaling over the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years? Is this something where you want to get to a certain amount per month and then just kind of chill? Is this something where you want to take this money and then use that to parlay it into investments, or like what place does it serve for you?
So for me, it's kind of similar to you. Like this is my lifestyle business. I would love to expand into other options in the future, but right now it doesn't make sense to diversify and make like $15 from the other ones when I could scale this to a point where I'm comfortable. And for me, I mean, I have high expectations of myself and my agency. So for me, 50K would be comfortable for me. At that point, that's like almost $1 million a month in South Africa. So that would be comfortable for me. And that's obviously very long term. That's like 10 years down the line. But at the same time, I made my goal for this year 10K per month when I first joined Agency Incubator. And a month and a half later, I'm already reaching that. So I'm kind of like, okay, need to aim a bit higher. So I think this is the business that I want to do long term. Like this is what I want to retire my mom with. This is what I want to travel with. This is what the business that kind of sustains the lifestyle that I would ideally like. And then I guess, obviously, I'm very big into investing. I started investing into gold when I was like 14. So investing for me is a huge part of it, and definitely property, because property here is so cheap, like you said. So like buying a villa in Cape Town and rent it out for like 30K a day or something. super easy. So that's ideal for me. Yeah. So, and obviously I want to be global because I actually don't work with any local clients at all. So, I mean, I want to be a global agency that is really recognized in the hemp and CBD space.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I think it's you have the case studies, you have the clientele, you got the backstory, you got the knowledge to kind of pave your path, and, really brand yourself and distinguish yourself as that. And wherever I go in the world, just out of curiosity, I also look at properties and try to figure out yields and stuff like that. I'm investing a lot of money into property next year. In the UK, which really is not as exciting as, for example, South Africa. Like I remember in Camps Bay, especially during the winter. I mean, kills it in the winter. Well, technically my winter, your guys' summer. Like the yields, cash on cash return. Even if you buy full, all out, like if you don't use any leverage, the cash on cash return is still like 15 or 20%. Per year, like it's nuts. So yeah, for sure. Plus, if it's ever vacant, you got a dope villa you can go to, or multiple dope villas you can go to.
Exactly.
So that's awesome. All right, well, I appreciate you coming on, sharing some of your wisdom. It's been awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.